Is Georgia going to win the national title in 2025? Bill Connelly's latest piece for ESPN says just that the Dogs are actually going to play for the title again in 2025. Maybe return to past glories. And who are they going to play? The Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, it's not too far-fetched to think that Georgia's going to be a national title contender here in 2025. I mean, most of the Vegas book houses have them out as a top 5 team headed into the season. A lot of them have them as the second highest rated opportunity to win the national championship in 2025. But the thing about what Bill Connelly did in this article that he posted this past week is he took a different angle to get the Dogs there. In that he says that if you haven't beaten Kirby Smart in the past, then you are not going to beat him again in 2025. And I understand this talking season, and there's a different way to go about stuff, and we're always looking for a different angle about how to get there. But essentially what he's saying is instead of looking at who's the best team on paper, we're going to take a look at some of the other intangible factors that might determine whether or not a team's going to be overly successful in 2025. If you're familiar with this channel, you know that we love to look at the intangibles and the different perspectives. So I'm here for it. And I wanted to take a look at what Connelly says is going to happen. And I'm not going to walk through all the teams that he puts in here. I mean, we can mention them. When he's talking about Georgia in particular, essentially he's saying that the rule is that the SEC has to be won either by Kirby Smart or by a coach who has proved he can beat Kirby Smart. And during Kirby's time in Athens, that has most often been Nick Saban. Well, of course, Nick Saban's not at Alabama anymore, so there are only 3, if you're counting them loosely, SEC coaches that have victories over Kirby Smart. That would be Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and again, reaching way back in the history books, Hugh Freeze, when he's currently at Auburn. He did it when he was at Ole Miss back in 2016, Kirby's first season, which was, shaky to say the least. And of course, Sarkisian, you would think, has an opportunity to do it, but according to Connelly's logic, he hasn't beaten Kirby, so he's not going to beat Kirby. So make of that what you will. But at the end of the day, he predicts the Dogs to win the SEC, saying like each of the 3 other contenders going into the league. And again, according to Connelly, that would be Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas. He says the Dogs will have a new starting quarterback in 2025, just like each of the other 3 contenders. But on average, the quarterback position seems to mean a bit less when Georgia is involved. Come on, Bill. The Dogs threw for only 136 yards in 2024 during the championship game, after all, and they still won the thing. So Georgia grinds out Kirby Smart's 4th SEC title. Now, again, it's some circuitous logic here that Connelly's taking, but I'm here for it to play the way through it. We can hit the high points of the article. He says the Big Ten champion, it will be won by the best team not named Ohio State. And since the Buckeyes will lose to Michigan for a 5th straight year, I'm here for that too. He says it's not going to be Ohio State winning the league. He's going to go with Penn State. He says it's Drew Aller and Penn State against Michigan in the title game, and that Drew Aller is the better quarterback in the game and Penn State wins the game. It's going to be Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, LSU, Alabama, Michigan, and he goes through why he claims all of those. So if you're interested in all this, go read the article. The top 4 seeds in Connelly's playoff are Georgia, Penn State, Utah, and Louisville. The first round matchups, Boise State at Alabama, North Carolina and Texas, LSU and Notre Dame, Ohio State and Michigan. His predictions are, until proven otherwise, I'm going to assume that the playoff home field advantage remains the most powerful thing in college football history, and he's going to pick all the home team winners. So in the quarterfinals, he says it's Georgia over Michigan in the sugar, Alabama over LSU or over Louisville in the orange, Utah over Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and Penn State over Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. The semifinals would give you Georgia over Alabama in the peach, Penn State over Utah in the Fiesta. And then in the finals, yes, he has the Penn State Nittany Lions taking on my Georgia Bulldogs for the national championship in 2025. And here's where I have to take umbrage with Connelly. I was all with him all through the intangibles and the unique way of looking at it. But he says in the finals, number 2 Penn State will defeat my Georgia Bulldogs to win the national championship in 2025. Frankly, I can't get my head around it whether Jim Knowles is the new defensive coordinator or not, simply because I watched Drew Aller play and James Franklin is still the head coach at Penn State. And you have to show me, James Franklin. Give me Kirby Smart and my Bulldogs to beat James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions in Bill Connelly's tournament here in 2025. The Dogs will win the national championship in this potential future. How about them Dogs? Am I right? If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And since we all know you love Dogs content, be sure to stick around and watch some more. Go Dogs!
Told them, how about them fucking dogs? That's what I told them.